Hello and welcome to a webinar session with the School of Media, Arts and Design. I'm Edwin, Program Leader for Visual Effects from the School of Media, Arts and Design, Asia Pacific University. On this wonderful Friday evening, I'm glad to welcome all those who have steamed in today to actually watch this and be with us for this webinar session on digital marketing during the time of pandemic. So this session is going to be a very, very interesting session that we have been able to bring to you. But before we actually go into the session, I'd like to showcase a few of the webinar sessions that we have already done in the previous weeks. This is the first time from the School of Media, Arts and Design. We have gone live on the Facebook channel. So I'd like to share with you what we have done in the YouTube webinars as well. So here we go. Let me share my screen with you. There we go. So these are the few webinar series that we have been organizing in the previous weeks. We had a webinar session on animation as a communication tool, getting started into freelancing by one of alumni. So that was an interesting session. The previous one on animation was from Mr. Jack, our program leader from this, for animation. And we had an interesting session also on photography from Nitul Dennis, a professor from India. And we had a session on motion graphics, art in motion graphics, by Asha Rao, Program Leader for Digital Advertising. And one of the interesting other webinars that we actually organized were on AR and VR, a better new normal through AR and VR, by Dr. Andrew from Ministry XR. And the last week's session was from us, Jalal. It was on VFX, and he, as a director who had done a lot of science fiction movies, had actually taken us through the journey of how he, from a VFX supervisor, he had developed into a director. So these are the series of webinar series that we have been actually organizing, and they are available for you to watch in YouTube, SoMad at APU. So you can definitely go to our channel and watch these webinars. Coming back to today's session, today, again, as I told you, it's going to be an interesting session, and we are happy to actually have one of our IAP members and a company, WiseSight, who has organized this session for us today. But before I actually invite a guest for the day, I would like to introduce my co-host for the day. So let me bring in Harsha Rao. So Harsha, today, hi Harsha. So today Harsha will be a co-host, and he will lead the session on digital marketing trend during the time of pandemic. And Harsha is a program leader for digital advertising from the School of Media Arts and Design, and definitely he'll be the best person to actually take us through this session. So thank you, Harsha, for being here.
Yep. Thank you, Edwin, for having me again. It was a fun time previously. Good to be back. So I don't want to keep everyone waiting. So let me just start by introducing today's webinar and also the person who we're all waiting for and excitedly waiting for. So today's webinar is going to be run by Miss Jessie Tee, and she's actually the Corporate Insights Manager from WiseSight. She's actually got a degree in entrepreneurship, and her experience is mainly on event management, social media content moderation, and she has a lot of experience in social data from Facebook. She has worked in entertainment as well as the property industry. So she actually works with a lot of data from these various different industries. A little bit of interesting fact about her, she actually enjoys reading books on self-development as well. So the topic for today is actually focusing on digital marketing trends during the pandemic. So I myself feel that it's a very interesting topic, and I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what Miss Jessie has to say. So I think I'm going to leave it to her. So Miss Jessie, the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you, Harshar. Let me start introducing myself. Jessie, hello everyone here. All right.
Sorry, yes. Yes, Jessie, you're on, and the stage is all yours. Yeah.
Okay, can you start sharing my slide as well? Okay, hi everyone. So I will be asking some interactive questions throughout my session. So please feel free to comment your answers to make our webinars more fun as well. First of all, let me explain a bit on WiseSight. What is it about? So WiseSight Malaysia is founded and run by a local expert in various industry. So we strive to solve key problems that Malaysian organizations face today. And to name a few common problems that these organizations face, first of all, it is the lack of hyper-localized tech that covers relevant data from the Malaysian channels. The second one would be the tech and analysts that can understand the colorful mix of Malaysian languages. And the last one would be they lack the personalized expertise to help traditional organizations and stakeholders navigate the ever changing digital and social landscapes through the social data, industry know how, and also insights. And through WiseSight's combination of technology and also the personalized analyst consultancy, our diverse portfolio of clients has seen many success cases that has resulted in fruitful partnerships for both parties. And so, how do we do everything to make it work? First of all, our system stores up to 15 billion voices from millions of sources. These sources are mainly from public pages from social media channels, blogs, websites, and local forums such as Laoyat and Charigo. So what we do with our data is that we will feed it to our world-class infrastructure that is 100% cloud-based. Our proprietary model, which is a social listening tool called the Social Eye, it provides you with analysis from different dimensions. I will share more about the data dimension in the later slides as well. So this tool is incorporated with artificial intelligence and is constantly learning the trends and data about the market. It understands the local languages, short forms, and slangs in Malaysia as well. So the enterprise application displays the data in a very simple dashboard view for you to improve your social engagement. Subscribers will only need the internet and a browser to access the technology very easily. As the tool can only display the surface of information without providing insights, we also provide services to optimize the use of the tool. We will deep dive into every piece of information about the topic of interest for every useful insights that can help you benefit as well. So, where were we from? We started off by only providing a social listening tool called the Social Eye, focusing solely on social data analytics in 2010. And in 2011, we realized that providing only the surface of the data analytics wasn't enough. There was a high demand in in-depth consumers insights. Therefore, we created an internal tool called the OB Walk and started providing in-depth insight services as well. We grew extremely fast and created the Thailand Social Award to award brands who perform well in the social media efforts moving forward as well. And in 2014, we again found a gap in the industry. Our client partners had the consumer insights, but they were unable to respond to them very efficiently. Therefore, we created a CRM tool called the War Room. It is a tool that integrates all the social media channel in a single dashboard to fill in this gap. We were also awarded the best communication applications and the best startup company in the same year. Our Malaysia office was set up 3 years ago. So we are also the regional hub due to the diverse languages and availability to different pool of talent we have in Malaysia. The fact that we understand the many cultures and languages in this country gave us the upper hand to expand to other countries as well. In 2018, we started expanding our services across APAC and had already expanded and entered Singapore, Indonesia, China, Hong Kong, Myanmar, and a few more. Okay, so over the past 10 years, social media has changed the way we live. And instead of sharing stories from our physical albums, we now share our daily lives through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or even Telegram, right? Honestly, how many of you still share physical photos with your friends? And when we have an opinion or feedback to give, instead of telling a few of your close friends, we can now write it online and a few thousands will know within a few minutes. So this is affecting the brands exponentially because things can go viral very quickly. And even for students like the most of you here, this pandemic has also changed the way you learn and study. E-learning has become a norm aside from the online classes that you already have. You might also have Facebook groups or pages for your classes to disseminate information. You can now seek help from your friends through social media as well. So not only that, we have so many other webinars like this one for your learning as well. That being said, we cannot neglect the importance of social media as the use of it has become a norm and businesses must utilize them to grow and stay connected with the customers. Okay, now let me share with you on how we collect data and work on our analytics. In all our social listening researches, we use our tag called the Social Eye to crawl messages such as posts, comments from social media, articles from blogs, websites, and even messages from forum. So what we do is that we insert keywords into the system and it will pull out messages that contain those keywords. The tag is very versatile and it can cater to many different objectives as well. Most of the brands that use our tag to understand they use it to understand how their customers think and feel about their brand and also for specific objectives. So some of the objectives would be to become the market leader in the industry, while some can be improving a certain product category or a specific series, even for their services, and even increasing their Facebook page engagement can be one of their objectives. They can also use the tag to receive real-time data in a simple analytic dashboard where they can analyze their own performance and benchmark themselves against the competitor. So not only the competitors, the brands will also be able to analyze different product categories, different marketing campaigns, and so on through this tag. Aside from the brands, advertising and creative agencies, they also use the tag to measure their content engagement and identify influencers. So, especially when social media is blooming these days, influencers are one of the most important elements for brands as well. On the other side, corporate communication departments, they usually use the tag to quantify their PR impact and to also handle crisis. They identify negative chatter through the tag and they quickly react to it before it becomes viral. Now, let's look at how the tag caters to different type of analysis. So, the social eye has 12 different insight frameworks inbuilt in the system. These frameworks are carefully added into our tag based on the industry needs. And depending on what our analysis objective is, we can look for the data metrics that is relevant to our study. The more common ones would be measuring marketing campaign performance, understanding consumer behavior, identifying digital trend, and also measuring the overall brand health for a company. So, for example, companies will need to know whether the public is happy with their product and services or not, right? And understanding this through the social data would be the public's most genuine feedback. With the digital trends that the brands identify through our tech, they would also be able to explore new opportunities, such as venturing into a new market segment that has potential, creating a new product, and so on. And as we see more needs in the industry, our developer continues to add in additional data points that can be used in our analysis. All right. So there are two different views in the social eye, our social listening tool. One of it is called the campaign view, and the other one is called the comparison view. The campaign view is useful in measuring campaign performance. It has data points that will help you in voice analysis, influencers performance measurement, advocate discovery, and also many more. You can see how the volume of messages for a certain topic changes in a certain period via the voice analysis. You can also measure performance of influencers that the brands have appointed and hold the influencers accountable as well. The brands can also identify advocates that are actively promoting the brand. So from here, the brand can appoint these advocates as their key opinion leader in a secondary level. In the comparison view, on the other hand, you will be able to compare multiple topics in various directions depending on what you want to study. It is more advanced in terms of analysis. So the most common use of it is to compare performance of brands against its competitors and compare customers' feedback for a series of products as well. So not only for voice, this comparison view will also allow you to compare different data angle, such as sentiment, channel, engagement, and many more. Okay, so I believe now that you have an idea on how we extract data and how we use them for marketing and also different types of analysis, I also want to share with you on how social data is used in real life. So this is a case study we have with Jessie Cinema. Yep, this is GSC Cinema that you have not visited since the MCO has started. So I'm not sure if you miss watching movies in the cinema, but I myself can't wait for them to reopen again. I'm a really big fan of Mulan, and I really, really need to watch when Mulan is up. So yeah. Anyway, GSC, it is one of our partners who uses WiseSight for social listening and many other services. So early on, they had a specific goal, which was to further penetrate the Malay market to increase their overall market share as the market leader. They already knew that the market from the Malay segment is important to them in Malaysia as they have the largest population. But they did not know what is the best way to conquer the market better. So when they told us that, our expert analysts understood the social media ecosystem in Malaysia and they advised GSC to focus on Twitter, mainly because the concentration of Malay users on Twitter is much higher than other social media platforms. On top of that, while doing the social listening for them, we also realized that the Malay market segment has high affinity towards the Korean pop culture. Therefore, we also advise them to also tweet more content related to the Korean entertainment to capture the Malay customers' attention as well. As you can see here, the brown area represents their usual engagement volume on Twitter, and the green area, it represents the engagement from the tweets that are aligned with our recommendations. And after implementing the recommendations, their overall engagement on Twitter increased by 2 to 3 folds, and they managed to capture the Malay users' attention towards their brand. Today, I will also share with you some studies that we have been doing during the movement control order from 18 March to also 3rd of May. This study was initiated by WiseSight because we thought that it would be interesting to learn and it will be helpful to anyone who are adapting to the change in this situation as well. So we created 7 complimentary weekly reports for anyone who needs to understand the social ecosystem as the pandemic hits Malaysia. Perhaps if you're interested, you can comment in the comment section if you want to receive the weekly report. We will send you the complimentary report after that as well. Now moving on to the next one, which is the impact from the government. So during the MCO, the government has launched 2 different Prihatin stimulus packages to help the Malaysians financially and to also stimulate the country's economy. And as we can see here, majority of the chatter was about the individual benefits that citizens are able to receive from the stimulus package. The Malaysians cared more about how much money they can receive and what are the channels they need to go to apply for this benefit as well. Now, although the stimulus package has covered almost all the segments and parties affected during the pandemic, there was also a missing part in this pie. So the small businesses were unable to benefit from the package, and there were a lot of negative comments, negative chatter from these small medium enterprise owners online, right? So not long after that, our government actually then introduced the Prihatin PKS stimulus package to help the companies sustain their businesses. So the top 2 benefits that was generated through the Prihatin PKS stimulus package was the employee subsidy and also the Prihatin grant. Employees, um, let's talk about the employers first, okay? So the employers were checking for the terms and conditions to see whether they are eligible to apply for this benefit. They were also seeking for channels to apply as well. They were actually looking for the links, where to get the form to apply, and so on. On the other hand, the employees. So they raised their concern that the subsidy would only benefit the companies because most of the companies, they have actually put them into unpaid leaves. And it could be unfair for the employee if the company receives the employee subsidy, but they are not channeling it down to their employee as well. So the employee basically will not be receiving any pay. And aside from that, we also realized that the social chatter related to brands and industries, it drops when there is a major announcement from the government. So for example, when the extension of the MCO, the movement control order, or the announcement of Prihatin stimulus packages was announced, the conversation was mainly focused towards this announcement, and it reduces the social volume of messages for the brands and for the industries. And this is mainly because Malaysians changed their focus from their usual interests like cars, cosmetics, foods, to news and announcement related from the authority or the government. This also means that the brands, they will need more effort to maintain their performance if they are running campaign during the same period of time. They need to either post more frequently or spend more on their ad spend, and also making sure that their advertisements are not spamming the users too much. Basically, the brands will need to either ride with the wave or avoid clashing with the government's announcements period as well. Then moving on to the next one, which is the Malaysian social activities. Now, when the MCO first started, we observed a huge spike in social data within the first week. The social volume increased close to 3 times, mainly because everyone is freer. They are actively consuming information and sharing their lives through social media channels. The top social activities we observed through the social data was actually sharing news and information, especially from the authorities. During the first few weeks of the MCO, users were sharing information on how many persons are allowed to go out per household, what are the type of restrictions they have when they are doing their grocery shoppings, and so on. Unlike previous days where our parents would just buy newspapers, now almost all of us would be able to search for news on social media or in online news portals as well. We also see high volume of content related to physical activities. Many Malaysians pick up cooking and baking. Some also took the opportunity to work out more at home. Due to this, many brands and even individuals, they started organizing workout or cooking challenges online. One of the more prominent one that you would be familiar with is the Dalgona Coffee Challenge. I'm sure some of you here have tried whisking your own Dalgona coffee at home, right? How many of you have done it at home actually? Okay, you can just leave your comment and your answers in the comment section. So, because most of the users cannot share their joy with their friends and family in person, they post them online as well. Not only so, many of them also started attending webinars like right now, online courses, and so on to upskill themselves. This is also why we see a spike in the online activities. Those who are not working also started playing online games more often than usual. Aside from their own daily life, we also saw Malaysians sharing more concerns towards the medical officers during the movement control order. They were worried that the medical facilities would not be able to cope if the number spikes further, and expressing their gratitude towards the medical officers became a trend on social media to support and thank them who are working to keep us safe. And because of the Malaysians' gratitude towards the frontliner, the hashtag stay home and even hashtag kita jaga kita was actually trending for that period of time. And as that trend started, we also saw brands and companies riding the wave and started posting public service announcements to share positivity and also awareness among all Malaysians. It is also one of the brand's opportunity to increase their presence on social media at that time, especially when they are unable to operate and promote physically. Right. So now that we know what Malaysians mostly do during this period, what are their main concerns? Think about it. What was your main concerns during that period of time when you stay at home? So during the beginning of the movement control order, when the number of new cases was high, Malaysians' concerns were mostly about the lack of medical facility. They also fear the spread of virus during the beginning of our MCO as well. This is also why the hashtag stay home and the hashtag kita jaga kita can easily trend during that time. And in the second week, there were a lot of speculations that the movement control order will be extended. Malaysians were following the news very closely, especially news from the government and also the authority. Since many businesses can't operate during the MCO, conversations related to business and individual sustainability has started to become trending on social media between the third week to the fifth week as well. Many also complain that they do not have the income, while some of them also fear for losing their job since business isn't operating. And from week 6 onwards, many Malaysians started discussing about the Ramadan. As our Muslim friends miss having Ramadan bazaar, they miss breaking fast with their friends and family, although they understood the need of extending the movement control order for our safety. And as they entered the seventh week of the MCO, the main concerns return to news from the government and authority, and also the individual sustainability as well. So this is mainly because Malaysian Muslim has already adapted to the Ramadan during MCO. Lesser conversations were related to it during the 7 week. But individual sustainability, it became a focus, especially for Raya, where expenses usually increases during the festival as well. Now let's move on to the next slide, which is also my favorite part because this I find this study the most interesting. Since MCO has started, the corporates and brands were unable to promote products and services physically. This also means that the marketing and promoting online is their only channel to keep their business going. Now, for the automobile industry, Toyota had very impressive online marketing strategy. And if you are a car lover, you should really check out their page as well to find out what they have done. They organized virtual test drive for users to try out their cars virtually. So this idea was very successful because those who miss driving can now enjoy it virtually. And it also gives potential buyer the feel of driving their car as well. Not only so, they also extended the car warranty after the end of MCO since customers don't get to drive much during this period. Toyota also posted tips to take care of our cars because we don't drive them often during that period of time. We always stay at home. This is also one of the way for them to show that they care for their customers. Then on Proton side, they started online booking and also posted tips to clean their car interior during the period. So basically, the automobile brands did not only create new ways to generate revenue, they also posted content that was relevant to their customers. And having all these initiatives during the period kept the brand in the customer's top of mind. And since all the property sales galleries had to be closed during the movement control order, the SmallMedium property also organized their online guided sales experience campaign to help buyers purchase house during this period. SmallMedium property, they also had a Bersama campaign. It is a CSR campaign to express their gratitude to the frontliners. And in this campaign, they posted the differences in our lives before and also during the MCO that are trending during the period. Not aside from that, let's talk about Masing. Masing posted a lot of virtual viewing content to increase customers' interest through social media channels since potential buyers were unable to view their show house as well. And for the F&B industry, the bigger brands such as the fast food chains, they contributed back to the community through donations and so on. For GrabFood and Foodpanda, they created contactless delivery in relation to social distancing. Tea Life and Burger Lab, two very famous brands, they created DIY kit of their menu where customers can actually make their own drinks at home, and they can also make their own burger at home. This is a very and extremely smart move because it creates new customers experience, and it also stimulates customers interest to try it out. This also increased their probability of receiving orders from their existing users as compared to the other F&B brands. Aside from Tea Life and also Burger Lab, many restaurants also posted about the Dalgona challenge that I've mentioned earlier to stay in trend during the MCO. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the hypermarket. So Maideen, they rode on the wave of Dalgona coffee and Makcik Kia when our Prime Minister announced the stimulus package. They used this trending content to promote their coffee, their milk, and also sugar in their hypermarket. This was a smart move because they were able to capture the public's attention towards their post very quickly. Now, for Tesco, they capitalized on the situation to promote their online shopping app. They encourage customers to buy online, and this also helped them in increasing their app's download and also registered users. Aside from that, Tesco also created a grocery shopping guide for husbands who need to shop for the household. And if you recall, there's actually a government announcement where the head of family is is the only person who is allowed to go out for grocery shopping. Yeah. So this was a very strategic move to show that the brand cares about their customers and they also understand the customer struggles. All hypermarkets at that time, they also started offering personal shopper to solve the customer's hassle to select products and reduce their risk of contracting the virus. Now, the next one is actually the hospital industry. So, for you who are still a student, perhaps you will not be able to relate this, but if you're a young parent, you will know how difficult it is to split your attention between your children and also your work. And because of that, Pantai Hospital actually posted parenting tips to moms and dads who needed to work from home with their kids around. The Sunway Medical Center, they also offered a medication delivery service to encourage their patients to stay at home. It is also an act to protect their own patient from the risk of contracting the virus as well. Aside from this one, the Prince Court Medical Center, they also supported another hospital, which is the Sungai Buloh Hospital with ventilators. So well, now we know that what the hospital has done. What did the banks do? The bank's role during the MCO were mostly helping the community and building their brand image. So Maybank created the Summer Summer Local. I'm not sure if any of you have used this app before. It is a platform where local hawkers, grocers, and even businesses can advertise and connect with their customers. This was very important for the local businesses that do not know how to market their products or services online. It created an image that Maybank is aware about the people's problem and they actually care for them. They actually take action to create an app just to help them out as well. Malaysian expenses during that period of time has also shifted to only necessities and personal protection equipment during the pandemic. So many so every beer brand had their own campaign to stay relevant and also keep their brand presence online. The Heineken, they promoted their e-commerce platform for customers to buy beers online. This helped them in generating some revenue when the restaurants and bars are closed. They also organized the Raise Our Bar campaign to support local food and beverages businesses. So at the same time, they also promoted the sales for their own beer as well. Now for Carlsberg, they did something very similar to Heineken, which was they listed down all the F&B businesses which are still selling or operating during the MCO. So this also encourages the customers to buy their beer during that period of time. The Save Our Street Food campaign from Tiger was also organized to help the local food courts. Now, the last one, which is the fashion industry. So, because of the social trend in Malaysia, Malaysians are working out more often. Uniqlo actually rode with the wave and they promoted their sportwears during this period. Aside from that, they also donated the Arism t-shirts to the healthcare frontliners. They actually donated 10,000 units of them to keep them cool while wearing their PPE. And New Balance, they also organized a one-day flash sales on Lazada to boost their online sales. And Pomelo, on the other hand, they collaborated with influencers to share home workout yogas, dance tutorials, and so on. So to conclude this slide, the brands which were able to identify trends relevant to their industry and capitalize on it, they will be able to survive the pandemic. They also need to adapt and change the way they do businesses due to this situation. And during this very difficult time, the brands which have CSR initiatives will also get to improve their brand image. Now, let's look at the change in the small medium enterprise ecosystem. At the beginning of this pandemic, the Malaysians were actually bulk purchasing sanitizers to protect themselves and their family. This has also created a huge demand in disinfectant, and the main manufacturers in Malaysia, they just could not produce as fast as the customers who are purchasing them. So many small businesses from the pharmaceutical, the beauty, and even cosmetic industry, they found opportunity in this. They switched their business direction to produce disinfectant using the alcohols that they already have. And it makes a lot of sense. Beauty products and cosmetic products would not be a priority for Malaysians during a pandemic. Who would actually buy eyeliner or eyeshadow when we're having a COVID-19 pandemic situation right now? So the small medium enterprise, they don't sell all this disinfectant online. The businesses which were able to switch quickly would be able to reduce the products that are stuck in their inventory. And at the same time, they have also opened up a new revenue stream. The next one would be actually about the farmers at Cameron Highlands. So the farmers in Cameron Highlands normally rely on distributors or middlemen to sell their produce. But this has also become very difficult, especially during the movement control order, since the distributors are not operating. And during the beginning, the farmers had to throw away their vegetables because they were unable to sell them, nor they were able to consume all of them on their own. So they then collaborated with Lazada to actually sell the vegetables on the e-commerce platform. This then helped the farmers reduce the wastage of vegetables that could not be sold when they were harvested to begin. And this will also help them in generating some income during this pandemic. It was a success because many people started buying vegetables through Lazada, although the farmers faced challenges in fulfilling the orders. But when they first started, especially when they first started, but we also see this as a future on how Malaysians buy fresh products in the future as well. Aside from collaborating with Lazada, many individual farmers, they also created WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, or they even shoot live videos to sell their products directly to the end consumers. So selling fresh produce online was generally successful because Malaysians can avoid going out and still get the fresh fruit that they need for consumption. There will be a change in the ecosystem that reduces the opportunity for the middleman if more consumers are buying from the farmers directly. Okay, now we have come to the end of our webinar. This is what I want to convey here. First thing is that social data is very, 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 very important to validate your social media efforts. We can use these data to make sure and mix that things are going well. And we also use this data to make sense of many things. The marketing personnel also use social intelligence to strategize their marketing efforts and leverage them against their competitors. And specifically for Malaysia, where there's so many different languages and different cultures, a localized data is very important as it will provide better insights to help you understand how Malaysians think and feel. If you're interested in becoming a social intel analyst one day, here are some of the skills that can help you in achieving this. First of all, you need to love numbers a lot because you will need to analyze the relationships between different data points on a very regular basis. The next one would be the adaptability. You need to be able to identify trends very quickly, and you will also need to have the creativity to capitalize on the trends. The last one would actually be social science research skills, as this will help you in understanding the user's behavior online. With these skills, you will be able to understand and reason out why the social media users act a certain way. So, if you're very interested in what WiseSight is doing and what I'm doing, actually, WiseSight is actually also hiring interns and also full timers employees right now. So do check out our LinkedIn for positions if you're interested. And this brings me to the end of our webinar. I hope you love this session and I hope that you get to learn a thing or two throughout this session with me. That's it.
Hi, thank you very much, Jessie. That was a very insightful look into what was happening during the MCO. I think all of us lived through it, but we didn't know what was going on in the background. And I mean, I myself went through that whole dalgona phase. I know my wife was making the coffee at home. So,
That's interesting.
we all were doing all that stuff. And it's really nice to find out about how different companies were collaborating with each other and
Mhm.
also helping each other out. So I think that was a really great thing to see. So, I have a question. Before we get to the questions from the viewers, I have a question for you actually.
Okay.
So basically, my question is, how do you think brands can better prepare themselves for crisis management in the future? So the crisis could be
So
another pandemic or something. Sorry, go on.
okay,
Sorry.
now use it's fine. So using a social listening tool or engaging with social intel partners would definitely be one of the way to safeguard the brand because the brands will be able to identify the negative chatter very quickly in almost real time. They will then be able to also decide whether the negative comment is damaging their brand badly or not before they decide to take action or to not to just ignore the comment. This will
Mm.
also help them in resolving any issues before it becomes viral. And of course, the brand will also need to have a very strong CRM team to also respond to these negative comments once they're aware about it. Aside from this, the brand can also actually gather their past crisis that they had previously to also create a crisis benchmark for their brand. This is usually done by a social intel team. So with this benchmark, the marketing or even the corporate communication team, they will be able to determine whether they should take action or not, depending on the incident. Yeah,
Oh, that's very
I hope this
interesting. Yeah,
gives you.
totally. Yes. So, okay, let's go to the viewer questions now. We have a question here from Zhao, And Zhao asks, can I know who talks good or bad about me on social network? So I think she wants to know if this listening tool allows you to find out who's talking bad about them.
Of course you can. So, um, Josh, right? His name
Zhao, ZHOU.
Joshu. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
sorry.
this yes, you can if you have a social listening tool with you. So what you can do is to actually put in your name as the keyword in the social listening tag. So what the tag will actually do is to actually pull out all the information but not information, sorry, messages from social media that contains your name, right? So if someone were to talk about you on another platform, so for example, it's not on your page but on your university confession site, you will be able to know that someone is talking good
Wow,
or bad about you. Yes.
that's amazing. It's really cool if you can hear what other people are saying, I suppose. So
Yep.
we're still waiting for more questions. Okay, we have one here from one Habibullah. Hi, one. How about e-commerce industry? Did it create a lot of conversation on social media? I think even I was spending a lot of money buying things online during the pandemic. So how do you think the e-commerce industry was doing during that time?
The e-commerce industry was actually blooming during the pandemic, mainly because many people are actually avoiding to go out in terms of purchasing. We actually had a study and we found out that most of the things that people will buy the most were actually kitchen utensils because people cook more at
Mm,
home and they end up buying more pots, blenders, and so on from the e-commerce platform as well. Yeah.
great. We are still waiting for. Okay, we have another question here from
Mhm.
Mimi Amin.
Mhm.
Is it social I only can analyze from social platforms? How about from Telegram, private groups, or maybe from Microsoft Teams groups created for business interest groups? So, not just from social media, but from more private channels.
Okay, so what Social Eye does is that it will crawl information from the public, like public pages, public Twitter accounts, blogs and forums, and so on. But let's say if it's from a Telegram private group or even your Microsoft team group, we will not be able to capture those information, mainly because it is a PDPA violation if we were to actually capture information that is uh, not supposed to be public. Yeah.
We have another question from Zhao again. Can I know about the sports industry trends during MCO?
I don't quite. It's a very vague question. So, this sports industry, do you mean the gym or workout industry? Okay,
Um,
let's try to.
Maybe let's talk about the gyms, perhaps, because the gyms, I
Okay.
think the gyms suffered quite a bit during the MCO
Yes,
also.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about the gym industry to start. So during the pandemic as well, we've seen a lot of gym trying to transfer and move their business from offline to online. The first thing that they have done was actually online classes. A lot of online classes have started during the pandemic. Even individuals who feel that they are fit enough to become an instructor, they started creating videos to also guide others to on how to exercise and so on. Aside from that, I've also seen a very interesting case where the gym, they actually deliver their equipment to their members' house so that they can also follow the routine with them when they're doing the online classes as well.
Oh, okay, so we have another question here. This is from Perdeep.
Okay.
He says, say a brand or business would like to measure the voice of their campaign on social platform.
Mhm.
Which will the tool cater to their specific needs?
Oh, yes, of course. So, like what I've mentioned earlier, right? The social eye can capture information that we put the keywords in. So, let's say, for example, I'll put McDonald's as an example. Let's say if McDonald's they currently have their Thai burger campaign going on, and if they were to put the Thai burger in as a keyword in the tag, it will crawl all the messages related to this Thai burger. And from here, we will be able to measure the message volume, the engagement volume, and even the customer sentiment on how they're feeling towards the product or even the campaign during that period of time. Yeah.
Thank you, Pardeep, for the question. So we have a question from Jan Wong. Hi, Jan.
Mm,
Nice to see you here.
right.
So Jan's question is, what about for
Mm.
smaller businesses that do not have their own social insights team or the ability to subscribe to social listening tools, as it can be costly?
Okay, so for smaller businesses that do not have their own analyst team or even the ability to subscribe to it, what they can actually do to begin with, if it's a small business, your social voice online will not be very huge. You can actually track them manually, right? If it's very small. But let's say if you have a scale from of 1,000 to 3,000 message volume online, it also shows that your brand has a huge presence already. And having a social listening tool will actually it actually doesn't cost a lot if you were to just subscribe the tool alone without the service. Yeah, it's
Okay,
not going to be very very costly if you are at a scale to have message volume of 1,000 to 3,000.
okay, great. We have another question here from Joey Tang. Joey
Mm-hmm.
Tang's asking, can you track anything on website? So I think she means like any websites or maybe like forums or blog posts or something like that, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So for website, it also depends on the website itself. Let's say if the website has an open API, yes, we can definitely track. But if they have a close and they privatize their website where they do not allow people to track information from the website, then we will not be able to. And for most of the websites that we have in our database, we also realize that all the news portals, all the public forums, their information is available to be tracked.
So PDPA really plays an important role
Yes,
here.
correct,
Yeah,
correct. Yep.
totally. Okay, so what's the next question? We're still waiting for a few more questions here. Okay, we have another question from
Mhm.
Jan Wong. How do you justify the investment into social data versus ROI, especially for small businesses, as per your examples earlier?
Okay, so investment in social data, because social listening tech is actually a martech. It's not an ad tech, right? So in terms of ROI, you will not be able to see a direct correlations to your sales, definitely, right? But you will also be able to see the switch in engagement, the change in customer sentiment, the change in engagement in for your business as well. So for small businesses, like what you have mentioned, usually what I would actually recommend is to use the social data to help yourself to grow larger, to gain more engagement. And then from there, you will also be able to build a better perception and to also expand your business.
Okay, thank you, Jesse, for that. We're taking the last question now. So
Mhm.
this question is coming from Arif Mohammed, who's asking, how does WiseSight help the education industry?
The education industry. We're actually helping the education industry right now.
Yes.
But anyway, moving on to the actual answer to your question. So for education industry, there's two things. The first one would be understanding the students' um, perception towards the university. That's because your main students are the ones who will actually become your advocates after they graduate, right? And then second one would actually to actually find leads where you find new students to enroll to your universities. So the social listening tool will be able to help you identify the first part, what your existing students are talking about your university, what are the activities that they loved more, what are the type of contents they like more, what are the type of courses that the students in the current generation love. So what we did the last time was actually did a study for one of the university where we identify what are the type of courses that has the highest interest and which are the ones which have close to zero interest. So the university can actually choose and decide whether they want to drop the courses or not in the university to also first reduce the expenses where there's no demand, and secondly to also focus on the courses and to also improve the courses that has higher interest among the students. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so it looks like the questions are really rolling in. There's a lot of people with a lot of questions. So, we're going to take just two more questions. Yeah, we have a question here
Okay.
from Zubaida. She asks, what is your key advice for the evolving new companies during this pandemic? So companies that are just starting, perhaps.
Okay, so if you're starting right now, make sure you create your presence online, right? Because online is the only way to start your exposure right now. We do not know, especially right now, we do not know whether the COVID-19 will persist or it will die down. So it's like it's not constant. So the best way right now is to actually focus on digital, build your presence online. You can do a lot of marketing online. Start investing on Google ads, start investing in Facebook ads if you have the budget. Otherwise, you can start creating your own page and start building up your organic content. Find out what is the best time where your target audience engage the most, and choose those timing to post up your content as well to get the maximum exposure. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. We still have one more question coming in. This will be the last one, I promise. So
Okay.
this question is from Matthew
Okay.
Wee. Hi, Matthew. May I know your perspective on the best digital marketing strategies to be implemented to slowly revive our local tourism industry?
The local tourism industry. I've actually not thought about that actually. Let's see. The local tourism industry. So for now, right, people are actually very reluctant to travel, mainly because of the fear in contracting the COVID-19.
Mhm.
So this is my personal opinion, right? It's not backed by data, but I would also advise, similar to the F&B industry, start showing what are the initiatives and also effort in terms of protecting the customers, on in this case, protecting your travelers from um, contracting the virus. So for travelers, for example, in if you are locations, for example, a hotel or even a theme park, right? Start showing what are the precautionary steps that you have done to safeguard your customers, and what you do to also make sure that their enjoyment, their experience will be maintained, while at the same time keep them safe. Yeah.
Yep, totally, I agree. I think a lot of us probably want to go on vacation. It's been a long time already for everyone.
Yes. Yes.
So I think wrap up today's session. So thank you very much, Jessie, for being on the
Missing.
webinar. Hi, Edwin. Welcome back.
Thank you very
Hi.
much. Thank you. Hi, Jessie. Thank you very much for this wonderful webinar session. Actually, you were taken through all the industries, how it has been affected, and how they are slowly coping up, and then they are coming back to business. And
Mhm.
definitely, like how Asha was also stating, everybody can relate to how digital marketing has actually made life comfortable during the pandemic, sitting at home,
Yes.
buying, be it buying groceries or being, uh, I mean, by everything that you do on a day-to-day life is currently happening just sitting at home.
Correct.
Yeah, so that is definitely possible because of the advent of the digital marketing and the extent people actually adapted and improvised on the opportunities. And
Yes.
of course, when there was difficulty, there's always a way. And I think this is definitely one of the best webinars. And thank you for the time
Thank you. No problem.
and being patient to take most of the questions asked by our audience. I'm sorry if we are not able to answer a few. We hope we definitely were able to give you as much as answer as possible. So thank you very much, all of you, for joining us today for this live webinar session. On that note, I'd like to also share with you that the next webinar session is on Friday. It's going to be an interesting session as well. It's going to be on games. So we have Gain Secure, a company, and Mr. Walter Wong from Gain Secure is here with us next Friday to actually share with us the journey and the process of making casual games. So for all you gamers out there, people who want to get into the gaming industry, this webinar session is going to be a wonderful session. So do watch for the posting in APU FB page. So it will be up by Monday. and then you would definitely like to join us on Friday. So thank you very much again, and have a wonderful weekend ahead. Stay safe. Thank you very much, all. So this is Edwin signing off on behalf of School of Media Arts and Design, Asia Pacific University. Asha?
Thank you very much. Glad to have you all on board with us. Thank you, Jessie, for
Thank you.
taking
You're
the time.
welcome. No problem. I'm happy to share.
Thank you so much.
Great. Have a good
See you all.
weekend, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you
Bye-bye.
too. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. See ya.